Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Sean, and this is Old Man of the Redwoods RC. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming back. If you're new, welcome. And just to start it off with, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, share. Yeah, it's free. You don't have to do anything. So we're getting started off on the new build. You've seen the last week's where we went, What's in the Box? One of my favorite movies. So this is going to be the What's in the Box series. So we're starting off with getting the chassis put together, trying to make these a little bit short so they're not going to be too just like run on and everybody decides to leave in the middle of it, because it's new to me and this is a whole new venture for me too, to get one of these cars going. I've never had one of these before, so this is going to be interesting. And let's see what we can do when we get put together here. And at probably the end of the series, I'll get a list compiled up to show you what all the costs were on everything, each little piece, just show you basically how much one of these can be. It could be a lot more, it could be a little bit less, depending on the parts that you use. But for the most part, this is going to be what I'm going to call for right now the faux poised T1 V1, because this is the knockoff version of the V1 chassis of the poised vehicles. The difference on that is the chassis being that the shock tower comes up to here. There is no horn coming out here, frame horn coming out to put a bump or anything. So your axle's out front, wide out in the front there. So let's start getting this thing put together. It is so dark. I hope this doesn't hurt anything, but whatever. It is what it is. So it's going to be, it's got a lot of shadow behind me. The sun coming off the truck there's probably getting a little bit bright. Once I turn the camera down onto the table here, probably be able to see a little bit better. So let's get started. Get you turned down here. Hopefully it won't fall too far. Tighten it up a little bit. And there we go. Now with this part of it, it's not going to be so bad that everything's backwards. But it is going to probably look like I'm unscrewing everything and where I'm not. So we got our frame rails. We got this cool little piece here, which is the body mount for the rear of if you're using just a half cab, the body would actually go down in that slot and then the screws would go into it to hold it in place. And then you have your body pin up front. I want to try and keep from putting holes in the body, but that may not happen. But we're not using this piece because we're doing a full body on the chassis anyways. Get everybody else out. There's our rear brace. There's our front body mount, which we'll put in place just to put the frame rails into perspective for the front. There's my screws for the skid. Oh, special little piece. We'll get into that here in a minute. And this is all Delrin. This isn't 3D printed anything. This is a Delrin material. And I don't know if you can see in here and up here, the holes are threaded. They're already threaded. So that's pretty cool. Now, the longer screws here go all the way through the chassis and it'll hold the skid in place. But if you put other screws here, when you go to try and mess with links and stuff like that, you're not going to have to worry about the whole thing falling apart on you. You can just do links back and forth. But for right now, we're just putting these in, and you can't see that yet. That's an interesting little piece. I'll put those screws in later into the skid just to hold it all in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the chassis put together, and we're going to get the links on today. And that's all we're going to do this time around. And then the next one, I believe I'm going to throw the axles on, and we're going to mess with the, how I'm going to, oh, there's my skids too. Yeah, I got to have the side skids too. Got to have those. Our little wings. Now, as you're noticing already, there's only one little bag of hardware. That's for this. Nothing comes with hardware. The little side wings didn't come with any hardware. So where does that go? Those go out there to the big screws anyways. So that'll be fine. That'll work just fine. Interesting. So you wouldn't be able to use a screw in here on these two inboard holes to hold the skid in place, because these holes here line up to the outer holes where the whole long screw is going through and holding the links too. So in order for you to be able to do that, you'd have to probably dimple, or maybe take like a die grinder or something in here and cut some of that out to do that. This looks like it's not a 3D printed piece either. This is like an injection molded piece. This isn't even a Delrin machined like this. These are like injection molded. So cool. Get all these guys up here out of the way. Hopefully the breeze doesn't blow them away. We'll do this. We'll put them up underneath the old calipers to keep them out of the way, keep them from blowing away. Like I said in the first video there, I did already put all the links together, just so I don't have to go through the agonizing pain of watching that. The ends have angled for where the skid is. So you get 4 of those in this setup. So you have all your lowers have been angled to go onto the skid. It makes it super nice to get your spread right. You don't have any binding that way. Move everybody down. There's my upper fronts, lower fronts, upper rears, and lower rears. All right, so let's get started here. This is what's the fun part of this is because everything is going together all at once. So it gets a little bit fiddly. So get these guys out, which is kind of a bad idea. But let's see, that's going to the other side. We need this side. Yeah. We're going to start right here. Now, there's no threads in here, so this just slides right on through to where the link's going. So this makes this so much more fun. And the fitment is actually pretty good, so you don't have to really worry about any side-to-side slop. There's no side-to-side slop on the link there. It's pretty snug. And get my driver out. We're going to run that in just a little bit. Keep everything loose while you're putting it all together. Makes it a little bit easier to Come on, we'll get in there. Get everything sorted. Now, to me, this is my favorite part of doing these cars, is because I love building. It's a little bit snug. Now, I was thinking, because these are threaded in here, it's going to make them easy to back out because you're not cutting threads going into the plastic. So what I might do later is I might take these screws, run them out one by one, and put just a tiny bit of blue Loctite on them to get bit down into that plastic so that it'll hold. They're long screws and they're going to be strong enough to do it with anyway, so it shouldn't be a major problem. Get my other skid. You through there. And then you back there. And got a bunch of boisterous crows. They're wanting to mess up all of my audio. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but they are being noisy. Come on, slide. Come on. Well, fine then. I'll run you in. Just like that. Back that off so I can line up the other screw. There's coming through right there. Where's my link? There you are. Yeah, these grooves are really nice and snug, so that makes it really super nice to... There it goes. See how easy that's actually screwing in there, so we're just giving it little light snugs just to not strip our threads, but get everything in place. Now, this little guy here, this is your rear brace. Neighbors. Put all these in here so I wouldn't lose them. Make sure I'm still in frame here. Get going on these things and I forget where I'm at in the frame, but I got it pretty good, so everything's staying fairly framed up. Now, they're coming to the point where you're going to be probably utilizing some calipers or some way to measure. Dang it, that one doesn't want to go. There it goes. Just all of this Delrin stuff it's been threaded already. Phew, got a little bit of traffic. Oh, and his noisy trailer. So it probably wouldn't hurt to probably run a dab of Loctite, even though it is plastic, because you're not cutting threads, so that all the screws will stay in, because you're seeing how easy this is to unscrew out of here. Get in there. Now the body mount here is actually adjustable because you have multiple holes up here on the shock tower to go. It's just wherever you're going to be putting this, hopefully it's not where you're going to need your shock. So as I was looking at this, I'm like, where am I going to put my electronics? I can put them out here, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep everything in here. So I thought of a piece I remembered that I had from Mullet. And it was this little tray that comes with the kit that goes, this is supposed to go in place of one of the stanchion tubes off of the front motor plate to the transmission. So you can put, it's like an electronics tray. So what I'm going to do with this is that little sucker is going to hang right there. It's going to be like right in there, and I can angle it down, I can put it flat. I'll be able to adjust it however I want to set my electronics on, because I have an outrunner motor that we're going in here. So this is big enough to put the ESC and the receiver. That's all I need, because the servo and the battery is going to be out here on the axle. So everything will be all nice and compact right here. Nothing's going to have to worry about being back there. Oh, now we'll mess with that later. I thought about maybe hanging the carrier bearing in there, but we'll mess with that later. Now, the thing we're going to be dealing with before we put this on is going to be doing the upper links. Well, like I said, no hardware has come with any of this. So you're either going to have to get hardware, or you're going to have to like source it out of your stuff that you already have. Fortunately, I do have a lot of screws and stuff, so what we're going to do is we're going to get out the old trusty calipers, and we're going to do a little measuring and see where we are going to need to be. With my thickness of that to there, that's a 1042. So that means that I need a 12 mil screw. So I get into my little box here, and I do have them all still labeled, have their little labeled bags from a screw kit that I got in a long time ago, so I kept all the tags. So I'm just going to go down through here, and I find my 12 millimeter screws, and we're going to do a little test fitment. Oh yes, and you're going to need some nuts. So I got collected all my nuts together. I almost have all my nuts. So let's do a little quick test fit to see if the 12 mil is going to be long enough, and it doesn't, at eyeball, it doesn't look like it's going to be. I might have to go to the 14. That's not going to give me enough. Ooh, that might just give me enough for a nut. Grab the old trusty Tamiya tool. And see if by possible chance, is that going to be flush, or am I going to need to go to a longer screw? Do I need to go to a 14? That sits beautifully flush. All right. So I want to do, you have enough adjustments down here that you can really put some caster into this front axle. So I'm going to put almost all the caster into it to start with, because I really want the front tires to lay over. So we are going to move this. Now, as you can see, there is plenty of link adjustments on here. So I'm only on the top line right here anyway, so I'm just going to go back to the back top line. I'm not going to go down to the bottom one, so that might be a little too extreme, but we'll find out later when we get out and start driving and tuning. Hopefully, I won't have any problem with mess with the, because these links are going to be going to the center anyways, so they'll be angled in. These guys are angled out, so I shouldn't have any, because it hits right there if I come up almost straight, but they're going to be over here, so that should be perfectly fine. Get me another one, which is working very, very nicely. But yeah, you're going to have to probably measure some screws to see about getting the right links. Now, the upper links have a straight one front and rear on it anyway, so you don't have to worry about the angled ones. The angled ones are only for the bottom, so that you don't get any binding there. And see, it makes it really nice to do this when there's nothing in your way yet. It gets real fun after everything's in the way. Now, we'll do the same thing with the rear. And then we'll put that little sucker on so that you can see it. Let's see. Which way should that go? Should that go long up here, or should I go short up here? I'll probably put the short end up here so that it's not so interfering. But that's going to be the same. 12 mil screw. And we're going to go upper row midship. That should do just fine for right now. Just for assembly purposes, that will be good. Now I'm trying to use all the black screws on here just to kind of hide it out a little bit. But I have silver ones in there too, so I could do a little bit of contrast if I wanted to later, kind of dress it up a little bit. Short to the front, go underneath the rear brace. Well, that one seems a little short. That's almost like that's not a 12 mil. Let's try and get a different one out of the bag. We'll put that one off to the side and we'll remeasure it. That might have possibly got put in the wrong bag. That might be a 10 mil or some odd one. That looks a little better. Oh, that's much better. Wow. It's still going to be a 30-minute video almost? That's insane. So let me get this put on here just so that you guys can see it in place. I got a spacer on this one side because this tray is not wide enough to go where I want it to go because it's not made for this. So I found me a fat little spacer. And let's put this side on first. I use the spacer on one side just to shift it over some, just to kind of centralize it a little bit more in the car. Because with the transmission, the motor is going to be over here. So I want the kick out of the tray here to be over here so that you have clearance on the motor. Now, like I said, I can put it up flat like this. Or I can tilt it down. And this actually worked out really, really cool. It's like it was almost meant to be. Get in there. Come on. You can do it. Yeah, this is the electronics tray that came out of Mullet that I didn't use because I had my own plans on that anyways. So there you are. Electronics tray here. I can take this and just bend it down like that so it's actually a little bit more of an angle. Keep it down below the body line. I might sink this down too. So getting all this kind of in place, and so it'll kind of predetermine where everything else is going, and hopefully I'll still have some spots for shocks up here once we get to that point. But anyways, there it is. There's our first little part of assembling of the faux poised. What would that one be? Oh, geez, it just really blacks out, don't it? Golly, that sucks. You can't see nothing. If I angle this down a little bit and do this, yeah, maybe a little bit better. Yeah, the faux poised, putting her together, and well, part one of getting this little monster up and rolling. So there you are. There's some good startup on it, and hope you guys enjoyed watching this. And don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, share, and see you on the next one. This is the second episode, first part of building, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.